I would be delivering a lecture on William Shakespeare's Twelfth Night, The Art of Characterization, with special reference to the character portrayal of Viola. In this lecture, I shall be following the text and try to trace the role and function of Viola in Shakespeare's play Twelfth Night. Shakespeare's play is a rich gallery of characters. According to William Hazlitt, Twelfth Night is one of the most delightful of Shakespeare's comedies. It is full of sweetness and pleasantry. It is perhaps too good-natured for comedy, and the play makes us laugh at the follies of mankind, not despise them, and still less bear any ill will towards them. He gives the most amusing exaggeration of the prevailing foibles of his characters, but in a way that they themselves, instead of being offended at, would almost join into the humor. He rather contrives opportunities to let all the characters show themselves off in the happiest lights that renders them contemptible in the perverse construction of the wit and malice of others. In this play, the presence of Viola introduces a serious note. A girl who has been offshore, separated from her family and home, placed in a strange island of Illyria. But yet, in spite of the seriousness of her presence in the play, we have the comic world of Twelfth Night that resolves all the problems of the world according to the will of characters. There are certain stages of society where people become conscious of their peculiarities and absurdities, as Hazlitt pointed out, affect to disguise what they are, and set up pretensions to what they are not. This gives rise to a corresponding style of comedy, the object of which is to detect the disguise of love as well as self-love. Viola assumes two types of disguise in the play. One is a physical disguise where she transforms herself from Viola to Cesario, and the second is the psychological disguise where she represses her love for Orsino and plays the role of a messenger of love to Olivia. In Twelfth Night, the comic characters are both natural and artificial. We laugh at them, but we also laugh with them. Characters are presented in such a way that they do not become too sentimental and remain comic, even at the cost of ridicule. Hazlitt therefore calls Twelfth Night a modern comedy, and taking cue from Hazlitt, we can say that Viola is a character who stands almost on an equal platform with her male counterparts and emerges as a representative modern woman on the English stage. The spectators receive pleasure from humoring the inclinations of the person they laugh at, but Viola is a character who allows others to laugh with her, and while creating a plot based on mistaken identities and situational laughter, she regales the audience a lot. Twelfth Night as a play is mainly a verbal comedy, but in spite of that, we have too much of action in Twelfth Night. Both the main plot and subplot contribute to the making of Twelfth Night. If the main writer of the subplot of Twelfth Night is Maria, who plans the entire gulling of Malvolio, the main writer of the main plot of Twelfth Night is, of course, Viola, who leads the play into a world of mistakes and situational comedy based on her disguising. As you can see that in this play, the structure is oriented in such a way that the subplot and the main plot mingle along with the characters. Orsino the Duke is in love with Olivia. Olivia the Countess is in love with Cesario. Cesario is actually Viola, who is secretly in love with the Duke. So there is this triangle, the eternal triangle of love. Feste is a person who belongs to both the world of Duke Orsino as well as Countess Olivia. And in the world of Olivia, we have the characters of the subplot. In this subplot, we have the overwhelming presence of Sir Toby and Maria. There is also the presence of the steward of Olivia, Malvolio. and Sir Andrew Aguchik, a foolish knight who has been brought by Sir Andrew to become the future groom of Olivia. This intermingling of several strands of the plot through characters make Twelfth Night a very interesting play that holds us suspense till the end of the play. The play has three groups of characters. One belonging to the house of Orsino, where we have Duke Orsino, who is the Duke of Illyria. He is, as we meet him in the opening scene, much obsessed with the idea of being in love than with the woman he loves. He says he loves. So he enters the stage singing a song, and through this song he reveals his own mind. So if music be the food of love, play on, give me excess of it. That is how he enters the stage. He is also a changeable character. He pines for Olivia throughout most of the play, yet readily says that he will marry Viola when he finds out that she is not a male, rather she is a female. The second is the household of Olivia, the countess of this play. She is rich countess who insists she will mourn for her brother for 7 long years and will see no one. She will only put on a veil and water her garden once a day. But she readily changes her mind once she meets and falls in love with Cesario. Viola disguises Cesario. Olivia is patient and shows some concern for others, since she lets her uncle stay with her, or say cousin, Sir Toby, stay with her, even though he is burdensome. And she also feels for Malvolio when he is mistreated by the other characters. The other group is the misaligned twins, Viola and Sebastian. Viola is the twin sister of Sebastian. After surviving the same shipwreck, she decides to disguise herself as a male servant, Cesario, so she can work for Duke Orsino, who she is told is still a bachelor. She promptly falls in love with the Duke, who does not suspect she is a female. Sebastian, her twin, has also survived the shipwreck, but does not know that his sister is alive. Just as she does not know that he is alive, he also takes upon himself to survive in this land. Like his sister, he is willing to go on along with other people's mistaken beliefs. In his case, he goes along with marrying Olivia, even though he has never met her. When she offers marriage, he agrees. So this is a strategy of survival adopted by the twins in the strange land of Illyria. In Olivia's household, we have several characters who provide much entertainment to the audience. Sir Toby Belch is Olivia's uncle, or as she calls, a cousin, who is staying in Olivia's home and annoying his niece with his drunken revelry. He convinces Sir Andrew that Olivia really may take him seriously as a suitor. By doing so, Sir Toby keeps Sir Andrew around and takes advantage throughout by using Andrew for a constant supply of money for his drunken revelry. Maria is Olivia's gentlewoman. She enjoys the company of Sir Toby and the clown. She is smart and she is a mischief maker. She plans elaborately to embarrass and distress Malvolio, who acts as though he is better than the others. Sir Andrew Aguchik is a wealthy knight who is foolish and slow and therefore easily manipulated in the play. He believes Sir Toby will prepare some ground for him to marry Olivia. Malvolio, on the other hand, is a disciplinarian, a strict disciplinarian of the play, who is presented as a misfit. He is Olivia's puritanical steward. He looks around on Sir Toby and his friends for their carousing and tries to retain the quiet that Olivia requests. He easily falls for Maria's trick when he falls in her trap and plays on his vulnerabilities. He is yet another man who desires Olivia, secretly of course, daydreaming. Feste, on the other hand, is Olivia's clown. He is a master at wordplay and a keen observer of human life. he has the courage to tell Olivia that she is too foolish for wanting to mourn so long for her brother. And of course, he plays a role in torturing Malvolio. Through Feste, we have a series of songs in the play that provides much entertainment, music, melody, and spectacle. So, Twelfth Night depends heavily on characters. Among these characters, Viola is perhaps the main protagonist of Twelfth Night. So, in the exposition scene, Act 1, Scene 2 of Viola, when we find Viola standing on the coast of Illyria. She is named Viola. A sea captain and sailors are here. Having just survived a shipwreck, Viola is asking the captain about her brother Sebastian. The captain assures that yes, Sebastian is alive and gives hope to her. Viola is satisfied and talks about the outer appearance of the captain that includes an appearance that is also good inside. And the captain fills in some details about the island. Viola plans to enter into the world of Olivia because Olivia is mourning for her lost brother. Viola too has lost her brother in the shipwreck. So she finds a smooth passage into the world of Olivia. But the captain says no. She, in her state of mourning, will not allow anyone, especially a person who is known to Orsino. When captain names Orsino the Duke of the Land, Viola is excited. Orsino, Orsino, yes. My father had talked about him. He was a bachelor then. Viola is interested in the marital status of Orsino and wants an entry into Orsino's world, but the captain says, no, no, this man is lately in love with Olivia. As the great men do, the little ones, of course, prattle. And there is a scandal about Orsino, the Duke of Illyria, falling in love with Olivia. And therefore the chances of Viola entering into Olivia is null and void, while the chances of Olivia entering into the household of Orsino as a female is also improbable. At this moment of the play, Viola decides to take the guise of a page boy, an entertainer in the court of Duke Orsino. She asks the captain to dress her as an eunuch, a transgendered, and through this cross-dressing she becomes a page and is presented at the court of Orsino. After this exposition scene, we meet again in Act 1, Scene 4, where the rising action of the play is set, where we meet Cesario in ORSINO-LAND. So this scene 4 of Act 1 returns us to the palace of Duke. Here we find Valentine speaking with Viola, who disguises as a man and calls herself Cesario. Viola, as Cesario, has been saying that the Duke for only 3 days, but already the Duke is enchanted by him, Valentine says. The disguised Viola wonders why Valentine is intimating that either the Duke will change his feelings towards Cesario or Cesario will do something to promote or prompt the Duke to feel differently towards him. Viola asks if the Duke is an inconstant person. Valentine, on his part, says that he is not. But the commentary puts doubt on her mind, and as the play progresses, we find that Viola's Duke Orsino and his condition in the play does not suit Viola's position. Rather, Viola is used as Cesario as a messenger to go to Olivia to plead Orsino's love. We see that the Duke has quite a strong relationship with Viola in spite of his loving Olivia, since he says that he has revealed to the new servant even the secret of his soul. He tells Cesario that he is to go to Olivia's court and not leave the place until he is allowed to see her. Orsino speaks of Cesario as having to take his step, and as he appears young and charming, Olivia might take the message of Orsino better in the form of Cesario. So Viola is pushed to the task as a messenger of love to plead in favor of Orsino and convince Olivia to reciprocate Orsino's courtly love. The Duke explains that Cesario is to see Olivia and proclaim the Duke's love for her. Despite protests from Viola, the Duke says that Cesario is well suited for the task, especially in light of his womanly traits. The Duke gives no hint, though, that he suspects that Cesario could actually be female. Cesario agrees to do his best at the task and remarks in an aside that whoever I woo myself shall be his wife. That trouble may ensue because she is actually a female, wooing a female. She has already planned that the course of her life will be oriented towards reclaiming her love for Orsino. We meet Cesario in Olivia's land in Act 1, Scene 5. Maria enters and announces that a young gentleman is standing at the gate asking to see Olivia. When Maria says that Toby is detaining him, Olivia calls him a madman and sends Malvolio off to chase the young man away. Instead, Toby, half drunk, enters soon after. Olivia asks him about the man at the gate, and Sir Toby has no real answer and leaves. Olivia shows her compassion and by sending Feste to look after the inebriated Sir Toby. Twelfth Night. In the play we find that Malvolio enters and says that the impudent young man is standing at the gate and will not leave. Olivia agrees to see him, first getting Maria to her side and covering her face with a veil. Again, Shakespeare has held us in suspense for quite some time before actually having Olivia and Cesario meet. Cesario enters and is determined to know which of the women is the lady of the house. Olivia finally admits that it is she, but it takes some back and forth conversation before Olivia can get the supposed young man to reveal his message. Viola, now dressed as Cesario, asks that they should be left alone. Olivia agrees and sends away her attendants. Yet when she finds out that Orsino has sent this message, she wants to hear no more. Viola then tries another task and she asks Olivia to show her face. Olivia is reluctant and says that has Orsino sent him to negotiate with her face, and then she reveals her face. Olivia describes the beauty of Viola describes the beauty of Olivia and says that she's not interested in the way Orsino is describing her beauty, but the charms of Cesario impress Olivia, and the description of Olivia by Cesario impresses us a lot. Olivia is impressed and she asks Cesario about Cesario's parentage. And when he answers in riddles that he is a gentleman, Olivia is happy to hear about it. Olivia sends Cesario back to the Duke, but says, yes, you can come again. You can come again to tell me how he takes. She calls in Malvolio and directs him to chase after Cesario, and then gives him a ring that she claims that Cesario has left with her. And so Olivia sends Malvolio to tell him to come again the next day, when she will tell him why she is not the one for the Duke. Here we find that Olivia has already fallen in love with the entire external appearance of Cesario. This is a love at first sight, a mistaken love, a love of a female for a female that is hiding under the garb of Cesario. We meet again in Act 2, Scene 2, Viola in a ring of complication. In this scene, a short scene, Malvolio's scene, as ordered by Olivia, catching up to Cesario. Malvolio tells the supposed young man that he is annoyed and he has had to chase after him, since Malvolio believes that Olivia has told him that Cesario won't take back the ring, and therefore more complication is introduced. Malvolio relays Olivia's message that she wants nothing to do with the Duke, but that Cesario can return to let her know what Orsino thinks of this. Viola is Cesario's surprise, of course, since she left no ring with Olivia. From where is this ring coming? She doesn't know. Malvolio throws the ring on the ground and exits, leaving Viola on stage alone. While Malvolio does not seem to wonder why Olivia would want Cesario to return, Viola does, especially in light of Olivia's made-up story about the ring. Viola thinks out loud about how Olivia acted when she visited in disguise as a Cesario. So Viola has already got that understanding that Olivia had looked closely at him, oblique her, and could hardly speak in a normal way. Viola realizes that Olivia must really be taken with Cesario and says, "Oh, time, time, solve the problem, sort out the complication." And the knot can be untied only by time. So in this ring of complication, Viola is stranded, and this entire complication is because of her disguise as a boy. So in Act 2, Scene 4, we find Viola again, and now in the chamber of Duke Orsino. In Scene 4, we are back at Duke's palace. Orsino asks for music to relieve the pain of his unrequited love. He talks to Cesario, the disguised Viola, and tells him that if he ever falls in love, he should think of the Duke, who is the true lover. The Duke remains obsessed with love and wants others, even in their own lives, to be reminded of his intense love. He asks the supposed young man that if he has ever been in love, to which Cesario responds that he has, with someone who has a temperament like the Duke's and in about the same age as the Duke. While as Cesario is responding sincerely, since she says that she is the twin, since she herself already loves the Duke, yet the Duke remains convinced that her disguise and does not catch on to the subtext of her comments. When the Duke says that the young man should not be with an older man in love, a young woman should be with someone older than herself. Viola readily agrees. Her loving someone older than herself follows the Duke's advice, although he is aware of it. The Duke's attendant Curio enters with Feste, the clown, at this moment, and now a song is performed on the stage. Feste sings of a man killed because of his fair cruel maid. So he sings the sad song of love and separation. The narrator of the song requests that no friend attend to his coffin and that his lover never knows where his grave is. After the song, the Duke tells Cesario to again let the Countess know how much he loves her, not for what she has, but for her beauty. Viola wonders what will happen if the Countess still does not want him and asks the Duke to imagine the situation if the roles were reversed and there was a woman who intensely loved him while he did not love her. The Duke immediately discounts this scenario, saying that no woman could ever love in such a way. Cesario persists and says that his father actually had a daughter who loved a man greatly, just as if Cesario were a woman, he would love the Duke. The Duke is intrigued by the story and asks to hear more. Cesario explains that the young woman never revealed her feelings to her love. She sat on a monument like Patience and left herself alone, unrequited in love, smiling at grief. The Duke also is impressed by the narrative and re-enters into his sad chamber of self-love. In Act 3, Scene 2, that is set in Olivia's house, we find Viola in trouble. Sir Andrew announces to Toby and Fabian that he can stay no longer since Olivia has never treated him the way he saw her treat Olivia's servant, Cesario. Fabian and Toby try to persuade him to stay. Fabian claims that Olivia acted as she did because she saw Andrew watching her and wants him to lose his passivity. He either must develop some trick to show his valor in order to win her love. Andrew, aware that he lacks intelligence, says he will have to use his valor since he is not good at tricks. Toby encourages Andrew to write a note to Cesario challenging him to a duel. Andrew heads off to do so, and Sir Toby admits to Fabian that he has spent much of Andrew's money. Fabian and Toby both agree that Andrew and Cesario could ever really fight each other, since it is against their natures. Maria enters and tells that Malvolio is dressed as a Joker in yellow stockings. So the three rush and Olivia is left to respond to the image of Malvolio smiling with yellow stockings. Lovesick Olivia watches the fight-sick Andrew both meet together in Act 3 Scene 4 against Viola, who is hyper-masculinized. Andrew arrives with a letter he has written to confront Cesario. Toby reads it, and in between each section, Fabian provides positive reinforcements for Andrew. This can be read as the gulling of Andrew. Maria says that Cesario is nearly ready to leave, and Sir Toby sends Andrew off to the orchard. Andrew exits, and Toby explains that he cannot give the foolish letter to the supposed young gentleman since he will see it as ridiculous. Instead, Sir Toby will challenge Cesario in person and describe Andrew's great valor. Both men will thus be so fearful of each other. So unwillingly, Viola is pushed into a duel that is hatched by Sir Toby. And in this scene, we find that there is mistaken identity. Instead of Viola, Sebastian is present, and Antonio also appears. Antonio confronts Cesario and asks for money. Antonio asks Cesario for some money. Of course, Cesario has no idea what he is talking about. Cesario also says that he does not know Antonio. The officers come and take Antonio away. But first he explains that he has saved this young man, thinking him to be Sebastian. The young man in front is actually Cesario, who is actually Viola. And Antonio calls the youth a traitor, a betrayer, addressing him as Sebastian. And then Antonio is taken away. Having heard the name Viola as Cesario realizes that the man has mistaken him or her for Sebastian, her brother. Viola, realizing that her brother may actually be alive, exits the stage. So we have a positive note. So she is placed in the world of lovesick Olivia and the fight-sick Andrew, and is informed about the presence of Sebastian in the strange land of Illyria. In Act 5, the last scene, we have the reconciliation where Viola will be meeting Sebastian and the twins are united. The scene begins, the Act 5 begins with Antonio's entry with some officers. Cesario, the disguised Viola, says that Antonio is the one who has helped him rescuing her from the duel. The Duke immediately recognizes Antonio and provides some history. He says that it is an intense battle among the warships. So the past is narrated. And Cesario explains, however, that Antonio did greatly help him, even though he said some very strange things to him that he did not understand. Antonio then explains that he would have helped the now ungrateful Cesario. Actually, he still thinks that he is Sebastian, survive a shipwreck, and that when he helped defend him, Cesario denied knowing him and denied that Antonio had given him his money. Cesario and the Duke do not understand this story. The Duke asks when Antonio arrived, and he replies that he only just arrived but has been in the company of Cesario for 3 months prior. Through this scene, we find that the play is set for the reconciliation of Sebastian with Viola. Viola, as she is presented in such strange situations, her character evolves through the play. Viola has been censored for the want of constancy and consistency, or even probability. It is worthwhile for us to examine how far the criticism is true. As for her situation in the play, she is shipwrecked, as we found, on the coast of Illyria. She is alone and without protection in this strange land. She wishes to enter into the service of Countess Olivia, but she is assured that this is impossible, and then she takes refuge in the world of Orsino. Through this, we find Viola as a very practical woman who takes upon herself to solve her own problem. And having set herself in the new disguise of Cesario, she tries to conceal her feminine appearance, her character, attires herself in the disguise of a page as the best protection against the uncivil comments, till she can gain some tidings of her brother. To pursue the thread of Viola's destiny, she is engaged in the service of the Duke, whom she finds fancy-sick, in love with Olivia. So we are left to infer what this Duke is going to do with the new page boy Cesario. We find that the Duke is using Cesario as a messenger of love, and the entire play turns against what Cesario or Viola has expected. So she is sent to the world of Olivia, where she presents herself as Cesario and impresses young Olivia. So the play then moves on towards the inevitable confusion, and because of the presence of her twin brother Sebastian and the reconciliation of Viola with Sebastian at the end of the play, the reconciliation of Olivia with Sebastian and Viola with Orsino becomes also possible. Viola is the chosen favorite of the enamored Duke, as she becomes a messenger of love to Olivia and the interpreter of his suffering. In her character of a youthful page, she attracts the favor of Olivia, excites the jealousy of Lord Duke Orsino. The situation becomes critical and delicate, but how she handles the situation by her patience, carrying her through the ordeals with all the inward and spiritual grace of modesty. What beautiful propriety, and the distinction is drawn between her character and the characters of Shakespeare. Shakespeare has characters like Rosalind, characters like Portia of A Merchant of Venice, and Viola almost stands on an equal level along with those romantic heroines of Shakespeare. So she is having the feminine charm. She is absolutely conscious of her own beauty, her own intelligence, her performance, her ability to sing, her ability to perform different roles, and she can hide her femininity under a disguise of masculinity while tempting Orsino towards her. All's well that ends well for Viola. At the end of the play, Olivia enters with her attendant and is surprised to see Cesario, who she thinks that is the man she has just married. Just remember, she has married Sebastian, still seemingly serving the Duke. This is the first time the Duke and Olivia are seen on the stage together. The Duke remains intensely emotional, while Olivia again tells him that she has no interest in him. He says that he could kill her, but instead will kill Cesario, even though he greatly cares for him, since he knows Olivia loves Cesario instead. So this is the jealousy that we find in Orsino. Cesario is ready to be the victim, but Olivia stops the slaughter, calling to her husband. At this, the others are baffled, but Olivia calls for the priest that married her, and the priest comes on the stage and confirms that Olivia has just been married to this young man. Sir Andrew enters the stage, calling for a surgeon for Sir Toby. Sir Andrew says that Sir Toby has been hurt in the head by Cesario, who also hurt Andrew. Toby enters out of sorts, and when Andrew offers to help him, he calls him many names. Olivia sends them off to be cared for. Sebastian enters, apologizing for harming the others, and then suddenly notices Antonio and the others staring at him. He also sees Viola dressed as Cesario, and all wonder how there can be two people before them who look exactly the same. After a series of questions, Viola admits she is, in fact, a woman, and each twin is thrilled to realize the other is alive. Orsino reminds Viola of those times she spoke of her love for the Duke. He takes Viola's hand and tells her to get her real clothes. Viola says that the captain who knows where her clothes are has been locked up at Malvolio's instigation, offering another example of Malvolio's apparent harshness. So all's well that ends well. Olivia is now reconciled with her really married husband Sebastian, and Viola is reconciled with her lover Orsino. So let us now summarize what we have just discussed about Viola. From the opening scene, Act 1, Scene 2, where Viola appears for the first time on the stage, to the last act of the play, Viola moves through a series of events and prepares herself for different roles that she plays. She plays the role of Cesario, and in this physical disguise, she excels. No one can see through her physical disguise, and it is only Feste in the play who suspects that under the disguise of Cesario there is a woman who is hiding. So Feste promises or prays for her to give beard in the next life so that she can prove herself to be a proper man. Viola's role in the play is that of a mischief maker. As a classical Aeron or heroine, she has an excellent idea of disguise and invents her disguise to survive in this land of Illyria that is strange to her. In this otherwise masculine world, she gains access into Orsino's world, safeguarding her femininity and performing her role with her main purpose of reclaiming the love of Orsino. She also says that whoever she woos, she shall be the wife of Orsino. And therefore the play in the main plot is totally written by Viola, and other characters simply participate in the process that emerges out of the mischief maker Olivia, mischief maker Viola. Viola is intelligent, Viola is witty, she is consistent and same throughout the play, and she is also very patient. Her patience is revealed in the play when she is caught like a cat playing with a wool, unable to get rid of the trap in which she has set herself in. And we find that with her patience, she leaves it to the plot to untie her from this sequence. She also can see that her disguise is doing a lot of mischief, not only on her but also on characters like Olivia. She is a good performer and therefore she performs with elan whatever role she plays. With Feste, she also shares some confidence and her wit and humor surpasses all the other characters of the play. At the time of reconciliation, she reclaims her love and is rewarded at the end. The play is about what one wills, and it is the will of Viola that shapes the plot of Twelfth Night. Therefore, we can say that she is the main protagonist of the play, around whom the play survives. So rather than Orsino or Olivia, she is the protagonist of Twelfth Night. Thank you very much.